in my gobstopper.
Strike that. Reverse it.
Nazi punks! Lick my plate! Drainage!
It'll be 10 minutes where it's like a Steven Soderbergh Ocean's 11 movie. It's all slick and funny and stuff. Then just the most horrific shit imaginable happen.
It's because that's what the fucking movie's about, you asshole.
This fucking guy.
The Tree of Life is freaking awesome.
I'm sure you think it is.
Faded to black.
Oh, you are fucking this up.
Neon slime. I said I'm not gonna hurt you. I'm just gonna bash your brains in. Being a cinematique where I like, I like the sets and I like all that stuff.
What did you say? Cinematique?
I don't know.
Jared Leto, man.
You're the worst, dude. If you ever listen to this, Jared Leto, you are the fucking worst. I'd rather watch that dude, the English dude who looks like he's not done yet.
So, hell, counselor! We are now in the 9th circle! The circle of traitors! Traitors to the country! Traitors to the fellow man! Traitors to God!
You look like a stunned mullet, mate!
A what?
This movie is the opposite of getting laid.
Thank you to all our listeners who have been listening to us for over a year now. Subscribe to us on Apple iTunes, Spotify, YouTube, and any other platform that has podcasts. Visit our Patreon page, become a Patreon to get more additional content. Again, we appreciate you listening and keep watching those movies. Now, on with the show.
Oh boy! A present from Santa! He got me a piece of freaking coal! I'm coming for you, FATMAN! Maid number 1, give me this number for Skinny Man.
Are you the skinny kid that's been calling about Santa Claus?
Yes, I want you to kill him.
The soup is hot. I'll do it, kid. Where's the money?
2 days later, at the North Pole...
Chris! Hey, Chris! Hey, Chris, get up! Hey, Chris, get off Miss Crinkle! Hey, Chris! There's some weird guy at the door!
All right. Oh, Walton. Let me guess. You're here to kill... Merry Christmas! And ladies and gentlemen, it's River Lane, Lee Bridges, and Doug Wall. Oh, and Derek Mary Lane. This is Tales from the Video Store. Welcome to Tales from the...
He's like, I swear to God, he's 13 years old still. I swear to God, he's 13. Why did you go put your mouth right up to where you just farted, you son of a God.
Welcome to Tales from the Video Store. Welcome back, folks. Garrick is back from the dead. After 2 weeks of having the COVID, we are back in business. How we doing, boys?
Doing pretty good.
I'm fine.
Let me tell you something. You said that you had this, Lee. I'm just going to go ahead and disclaim this. I'll tell you what, since March, man, I've had my doubts, and I'm kind of like, whatever. But I'll tell you what, man. I don't get sick very much. I was sick as hell. It was horrible.
I think you had it much worse than I did. I had it. I got my positive test was on October 23rd, so I had it till about through the first week of November.
Wow. Did you get it from your wife who's in the medical field?
I'm not even sure. Her positive test came a few days before mine, but I mean, you can have it.
Sure. It was terrible.
We'll never really know.
It was terrible. I had head cloud, like I couldn't really think, and was real weak and real gnarly green. Mucus, like, it was terrible, man. And the reason I'm saying this, I know nobody wants to hear about it, but anybody that hasn't had COVID, man, if you know who Garrick is, if you don't know who Garrick is, go to his Facebook page. I'm a healthy dude. I'm a pretty healthy dude, and I'll tell you what, it was awful. So wear your mask, man, and wash your hands, because if you're not doing it, I'm telling you, it's not worth getting sick. It was miserable.
The people who say it's like having a cold, it's not like having a cold.
It was not like having a cold, man. There was one night...
I've never had full-body hives from having a cold.
Oh, yeah, man, I got those, too. I got the hives,
I
too.
had a rash like you would not believe.
Oh, it was terrible, man. It was terrible. And what sucked is, like, you know what I was telling my wife, I was making fun. I felt like Bill Murray in Groundhog Day. I'd, wake up every day, and I'd feel the same. Whereas, when you get a normal cold or something, you'll have your peak in 4 or 5 days where you're real sick and whatever, or you're coughing, you're sneezing, but then it goes away. Nah, man, this was like 2 weeks, waking up feeling the exact same every day. Every day, nothing changing. It's crazy, man. Be careful out there, sanitize, wash your hands, like Doug said, and wear your mask.
Exactly.
The good thing is I'm back and I feel good. So anyway, but because we lost almost 3 weeks, we are changing things up a little bit. We were going to do the non-James Bond block. We've just decided now that we're into Christmas, we're going to do a couple of one-offs to get us through the year, and then we're going to start up with Bond at the beginning of the year.
Sometime in January.
They're going to come, hey, there is a positive light. They are going to start shipping off the vaccine, which, whether you take it or not, people are going to start going back to the movies. I think things are going to go back to normal within a year if this vaccine ships out. And I just think that's just my theory. No? Well, I mean, so you're saying if you don't get the vaccine, if you get the vaccine, you're still going to be worried about going out and letting a guy like me cough on you?
Absolutely.
Why?
Because it's not 100%.
Sure. Oh, okay. Well, either way.
And their trials it's like these trials are so shortened with how they're, compared to what they're supposed to be. I mean, now it's leaking out that, like, this Pfizer one, like, gives people Bell's palsy. Do you know what Bell's palsy is?
Yeah, I don't want Bell's palsy.
I don't want fucking Bell's palsy either. So.
Well, they also say that I'm cleared for 6 months. What is it, Lee? Like 6 months? Once you get it,
I've heard 3 to 6 months.
I've heard nobody really knows. It just sounds good to say 3 to 6 months. Because the scariest thing that anybody could say is, you get it, and guess what? You can get it again and again and again.
God, yeah, that would be terrible, because I don't want to do that again.
Right.
All right. Well.
And I saw that less than half the state of North Carolina intends on taking the vaccine.
Well, that's because it's less than half. It's because it's North Carolina.
I mean, come on, man. Please.
Half of North Carolina still thinks that Donald Trump won the fucking election.
This is true. Trust me, I see it every day at work.
Yeah.
People are still riding around their flags going, Trump 2020, it's going to happen.
Yeah.
I got one guy came in here to help me edit a couple days ago, and he still thinks that they're going to find a recount and that all this is going to go away.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. All right. Okay, cool. Well, let's move on then. Speaking of that, does anybody have any news for us this week?
I got so much freaking news. Lee, I bet you've got a page full as well. Where do you want to start?
You go ahead, Doug.
Okay, first item of business. A few weeks back, when we did the show last, we had a little bit of a discussion about Johnny Depp getting shit canned from I
signed the petition!
From the Harry Potter, and then there's almost a 2 million person petition
I signed it.
To keep Amber Heard from making Aquaman, or being involved in Aquaman Part 2.
It did not work.
Of course it's not going to work, but still.
I signed it.
I know you did. Another thing I wanted to touch on.
Wait, what?
That's it.
Why is that?
But because that's over.
Because it's over.
Well,
yeah.
I'm not going to, I mean, you know.
It's terrible.
Well,
it's a miscarriage in justice for Amber Heard to be able to destroy...
It's Hollywood, dude.
Yep, it is.
It's been going on, like, they make... Yeah, I mean, it's whatever.
So let's get this straight. So Amber Heard can say, Johnny Depp got drunk and smacked me around one time, or we got drunk a gazillion times and smacked each other around. And Hollywood can completely exile him. And then Ellen Page can suddenly become Elliot Page and be accepted 160-70%. I guess that's two totally different things. But my question to everybody out there, and this, I know I'm going to come off as this superficial dude, but who?
Because you are.
No. How does Ellen Page? So let me ask Liam know this. Is she going to be cast as boys from now? Like, how's that going to work? Or can she still be cast as Ellen Page?
There is no she. There is no Ellen anymore.
Okay, so right. So, but she's in the middle. What is she?
Umbrella Academy.
She's a girl, right?
And the season isn't done shooting yet.
So she'll have to be a girl for the rest of the time that she shoots Umbrella Academy, correct?
Yes, but she will be billed as Elliot Page.
Yes, that's fine. I mean, that's crazy though. It's weird.
But I mean, listen, she's an adult and she can do whatever she wants.
Here's my thing. I don't give a shit. You want to be known as Elliot? That's fine. Whatever. You want people to call you Mr. or Sir? I'm probably not going to do that if we ever meet. And it's not out of disrespect. It's just I can't keep up. And for all these, like, I don't want to be judged on my sexuality. It seems like that's all that people like Ellen Page, Elliot Page, whatever, want to be judged on. Is whatever they consider to be their sexuality. I don't give a shit, Elliot. I don't care.
I don't either.
Do you have...
I was just curious.
Is it Frank and Beans down there? Nobody knows.
I don't know.
So I don't know. So by the same, can I just be like, I think I want y'all to all start calling me, you know, King Master
Bobo McFrady.
Bobo McFrady. Yeah. And then it, you know, I can make you look bad, and I can chastise you in the world of Twitterverse and hiding behind computer screens because you not following what I desire. Like, I don't give a shit, Elliot. I don't care. And if you hate me for not, like, adhering to whatever the rules are, I'm sorry. I'm just not going to play along. Like, I just simply don't give a shit.
Right, I agree. These kids, River can touch on this. Kids he has so many conversations now with kids that don't know their gender, right?
Oh, half of my school is just people who like think they're both genders and they can't.
Well, when you go pee-pee, do you have to sit down or can you stand up? And that'll generally kind of give you an idea of where your starting point is, right?
I agree.
And look, I don't care.
It's been sensationalized now. These kids don't even know what they're talking about, and they're talking
absolutely not, because it's everywhere. Because these, we never
did any of that when we were kids. You either had
because it's imagination land, dude.
You had a cock, or you didn't.
It's just like I don't understand, man. Like I genuinely just don't get it, man. Like, if you want to be a dude, cool, man. All right. But if I see you and you have tits and a sniz, pardon me if I'm not like, excuse me, sir.
You mean, excuse me, madam. You've got tits and a shiz.
Well, it's so crazy, man. It's just hard to keep up. I just, that's more the thing. And I don't understand the point. Like, hello everyone, I am now Elliot instead of Ellen. Well, what? Okay, who gives a shit? I don't care.
Is he going to be cast? Is he going to be cast in male roles now? I mean, that's right, Lee? After Umbrella Academy, Ellen Page will start being Elliot Page and start looking for
There is no more Ellen Page. Ellen Page is now dead. Elliot shows up to the Umbrella Academy and then plays Ellen. Right?
Or plays the character that Ellen played.
Correct.
Yes.
Even though we don't like...
I have no idea. Elliot might be cast in male parts. I really don't know. Mm-hmm. I don't know if there's going to be surgery afterwards, or I don't know if it's just like she views herself as a male. You know, she feels that she, you know.
We shall see how her career goes.
I feel like I'm a male every time I take a piss. Does she?
Right.
Inquiring minds want to know. I just don't understand what's the point? Who gives a shit? I just don't understand
I'm too late in life to change my sex, for God's sake. Since I'm almost...
I don't get the... It's like, okay, man, you wanna be a dude?
I didn't survive the sex change surgery.
Like, you were a lesbian like a few months back, and you're married to another woman, but now you're not a lesbian anymore, you're a man...
now you want male roles.
Well, is your wife cool with that? Because I'm pretty sure she was a lesbian that was attracted to you because you were a lesbian. And now you're a man. Is that going to flip the script on your whole marriage?
I don't know. You should call Elliot.
Phone home, Elliot.
Yeah, Elliot, phone home.
Who knows, man?
Who knows, man? All right, well, so there you go. What else news you got now that we've been completely... politically incorrect on this.
All right, I'm going to have to hit Lee up on some of this because
we have six listeners and we just lost.
We just lost 6 of them. Yeah. David Prowse, who played Darth Vader in the original Star Wars trilogy, died at 85 at the end of November, and so I wanted to kind of research him a little bit. He was a big bodybuilder and all this, but a couple things that I read, and Lee, I figured you would know whether or not what I heard or read is actually true or not. Okay? The first thing is when they went to the original Star Wars premiere night, David did not know that his voice had been voiced over by James Earl Jones.
As far as I know, that's true.
He did not find that out until they were on the red carpet, and then I heard that he actually physically accosted George Lucas at that point when he found that out. I don't know if that's true or not, but that's what I read.
He was Darth Vader. He could physically accost anybody.
Right, and so I guess out of revenge, before Empire Strikes Back came out, it is said that Dave leaked the plot, and by plot I mean Luke, I am your father.
Right.
To get back at Lucas and everybody who knew that his voice had been taken out of the original, but nobody had the guts to tell him. I'm assuming that that's true.
It probably is.
And the last thing is, and maybe it changed later in the day after I read this, because I read all this the day that he died. The official Star Wars Twitter was silent on that day and didn't make a comment whatsoever about the death of this man.
I think that goes into my douchebag of the week.
Oh, okay.
Which is not necessarily Disney, but just Lucasfilm in general. Because about 10 years ago, David Prowse had cancer. He got cancer very bad, and just the payment, the treatment started eating into his savings. And then his accountant noticed that he had never received a royalty check from Return of the Jedi. And when he called Lucasfilm about that, they said, and this was like 2005, maybe somewhere between 2005 and 2008. Somewhere around there. And they said that Return of the Jedi had yet to go into profit. That's why he'd never received a royalty check. And then he made a big stink about it. And when you go to a convention and you see the stormtroopers, like in Dragon Con in Atlanta, where the stormtroopers march in the parade, those are the 401st, which in the Star Wars, continuity, those are Darth Vader's personal troopers. And not only did they not give him any money because he made us think about it, they banned him from all official Star Wars conventions and appearances and things like that.
That sounds about right.
And so the douchebag of the week is Lucasfilm, because I'm sure someone there was, maybe made some statement eventually. I don't know, but that it was whatever it was. It was a garbage statement, because they had just the guy who like you said, James Earl Jones did the voice. When we think of Darth Vader, we think of that voice, But Dave Prowse, I mean, he was he did all the heavy lifting, And he was just a really interesting guy. Like, he was Christopher Reeve's personal trainer on the first two Superman movies.
He was a massive human being. Yeah.
Then, like, actors didn't work out. I mean, you look at old Steve McQueen movie. He's not in that great a shape. I mean, before the late 70s, the actors never exercised. And he was Frankenstein in two different. He was the Frankenstein monster in two different Hammer movies. He was in tons of stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah. So the douchebag. So Dave Prowse was awesome, and the douchebag of the week is Lucasfilm.
Yeah. We also lost another guy, Hugh Keys-Byrne, who was toe cutter, and I can't remember his name from.
Morton Joe.
Morton Joe from Fury Road. I read that that George said that George Miller learned quite a bit about acting and watching actors work by watching Hugh Keys-Byrne, and really learned a lot from the guy, and was, I guess we just saw the end product. We didn't see what all went into it.
Almost like a David Prowse, because you don't see him.
Yeah.
Right.
He's covered up most of the.
But he is all over all over his, his fingerprints are all over both movies.
The early 2000s, when George Miller was going to do the Justice League, he was going to be in it. I mean, he was going to, he was sort of his,
his go-to guy. Yeah.
His go-to guy, exactly.
Yeah. Couple more things, Lee. I mean, I guess this is news. I don't really understand this either. Margot Robbie wants her Pirates of the Caribbean pirate to be of LGBT descent.
Right.
I'm pretty sure that I would be willing to bet all the gold under the Atlantic Ocean that if there were, and I'm sure there were a few at least, female pirates, more than likely they were probably of the LGBT community before it was a community.
Right.
So I don't really, if you want to see her hook up with some chicks and whether they're dressed up like pirates, that actually sounds pretty hot to me, and I'm perfectly okay with
But
that.
that's a Disney movie. Is that actually going to?
Well, who knows? I mean, who knows? I don't know. I just thought it was kind of interesting.
Yeah, I mean, it's just, now like we were talking about with people getting mad at you on Twitter, see, now it's almost like actors have to sort of not piss people off in advance.
They're pre-cushioning their fall, right, Lee?
What's that?
They're pre-cushioning their fall.
Right, exactly. And because eventually, I mean...
You live long enough, somebody's going to hate the shit that you say or that you do or whatever, and they're going to come after you.
So they're sort of hedging their bets,
right?
Internet outrage wise. And the thing is, it's futile because I mean these people who make these sort of internet, who want to cancel people, they're not interested in movies. They're not interested in things like that. They're interested in sort of feeling better than other people.
It's a bullying. They want to bully.
Right, and they want to feel like they feel like it's a righteous bully.
Right. There is no such thing.
So I don't think necessarily Margot Robbie cares one way or the other. I just think she views that as a way to maybe sort of pre-save her career, in a way. Because you show that you're like a really good person, which I'm sure she is. I've never she's one of those actors. I've never heard anybody say anything bad about her.
I would still be with her if her name was Mark Robbie.
Right.
Oh.
And she wouldn't be with you either way, Garrett.
Right.
So
she could be Marco.
So we're supposing that Margot turns into Marco. Is Elliot going to be on this ship as well?
That I don't know.
Now, if they were hooking up, now we'd have something. Okay.
Yeah.
Moving on. I saw a little tidbit about this.
What's that?
Go ahead, Lee. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
But just that it's almost now like that. If you're that big a star, like Mark, you have to do that.
Right, you have to.
Yeah, it's because the internet is so big, and plus the news cycle's so quick now. There's constant need of outrage.
Yeah.
So that might not like that much is just something that her like representation is like sort of like you have to do that.
Mm-hmm. I guess.
But
I still want to see Johnny Depp in that Pirates. Why can't we have Johnny Depp and Marco Robbie? I mean, I could go with both. All right, enough of that guy. We're just being politically incorrect today. What's next?
What about Warner Brothers is going to release all their movies on HBO Max next year?
Yeah, and Chris Nolan is not happy about it.
Nobody is.
People on Chris Nolan, James Gunn, the French-Canadian guy who directed Dune, whose name I can't pronounce.
Villanueva.
There we go.
Yeah.
A lot of them are very not happy about it because, they made those movies to be seen in the theater. And also that's, I don't know that there's a way, there's no, you have the top 10 on Netflix, but there's no way to really judge, like something being a blockbuster like that on something like HBO Max.
Well, and it's not the same.
No, it's not.
It's not the same. Listen, what was I watching last night, son? That I had to cut off. Oh, I was watching Harry Potter last night, and my daughter couldn't watch a video on her Chromebook because the HD 4K streaming of the Harry Potter movie takes up so much of our freaking bandwidth that I can't even watch a movie when my kids are doing their homework at home now.
Right.
So, with that said, with Tenet coming out tomorrow, when this is published, will be today. Sure, it's great to watch on TV, but it's not the same. It doesn't matter how much of the sound system you have or how great of a TV you have. It's still not the same as watching it in the theater.
Right. And these directors that are pissed off, like, you've got to understand and think back, Garrett, to when you were very small and you go into the theater and you develop this love for movies, which eventually turned into wanting to make them. You want to make them to be seen in that arena. You know what I mean?
This guy still wants to go to the theater, don't you? You'd much rather go to the theater than watch it at home.
Like, to the casual, like, I hate to use this word, fucking idiot out there who didn't grow up going to movie theaters or really doesn't care about movies as an actual thing.
They're the ones still driving around in their truck with the Trump 2020 flag hanging out the back.
Well, my thing is it's like, to them, going to the theater and watching something at their house is the exact same thing for them. They don't see or feel a difference. And it's kind of sad to me a little bit, but also, that feeling you get when you watch a movie and you're like, man, I love this. This was made for me. And other people pan it or hate it, and you're just like, I don't even care. I'm glad that you guys don't appreciate it like this. It's kind of how it's kind of how I feel about the movie theater, but unfortunately, it's costing us these theaters, and I'm afraid that and we've been on this for months and months and months, man. I'm just really afraid that these streaming services are kicking the legs out of the film industry without even realizing what they're doing.
Yeah.
And when you start getting these straight to video movies, you know, you're going to have a lot less talented guys doing it. The quality's going to be a lot worse.
Good, maybe then I can get me a job.
Maybe. They're going to be kicking out a lot more. You know, I could see certain studios that maybe made 6 or 8 movies a year making 16 or 20 a year to try and make that extra money. And the quality is...
less movies like Dune.
Right. You're going to see more movies like... What was the Adam Sandler... Hubie Halloween?
Hubie Halloween.
I'm afraid you're going to see more movies like that you can make in the matter of a couple of weekends very cheaply, as opposed to something on a grand scale. Why would you do it anymore? Why would you put that kind of a financial investment behind something like that ever again?
Well, because they get the same amount of, you know, it's all equal. You know, they're both watched on a streaming service. So Hubie Halloween and Dune, it's like, you know, one costs $200 million, one costs what, 10. You know, although I'm sure Hubie Halloween costs more than 10, but you know.
Yeah, and I'm not bashing on Sandler. I'm just saying,
no.
You know, it's more just that style of like.
Why not instead of quality over it's quantity over quality.
That's what's going to happen.
Push, more. Sure, hey, just get this scene.
That's the road we're going down. That's why it feels more to me now than ever that like movies are in trouble. And I'm not just talking about movie theaters. Movie theaters are definitely in trouble. I'm saying movies in general are in trouble. Because I just, like, the wider that you make this available, the less special it's going to be. You know, like, Tenet. We want to talk about Tenet. You know, we're going to watch it or whatever. None of us risk going to see it in the theater. I would have liked to have, but none of us were willing to do that. You know, we're going to watch it in a way that it was not intended to be watched. And then, you know, we'll come back with our best whatever about it. But I just think it's going to go, quality is just going to be like sharp, until it's just all fucking garbage. And I mean, I'm not saying in the next 2 years, but in the next 20, 25 years, yeah. Unless something massively changes to save the industry, and I don't know exactly what that's going to be.
That's terrible for the movies because the movie theaters make most of their money from concessions, and when no one's going there, no one's buying concessions, so no one's making money.
Well, they're that's what I'm saying. It'll
That's
close.
a very good point.
Yeah. So there you go. When Warner Brothers is giving it to HBO. Here
Freaking Debbie Downer, sorry, man. It's just how it seems to me.
Everything we've done, our whole legacy, here it is.
Yeah.
Yep. Wonder Woman is going to be Wonder Woman 1984 will be the first.
I'll be watching it on my HBO for free on Christmas Eve.
Just make sure that Oliver isn't trying to do his homework video for him. Up in his room while you're watching it because it's going to suck all the stream. It's going to suck all your bandwidth out.
We need to get HBO Max, I'm just saying.
See, look at him. He's already starting. He's over
I shouldn't have said anything.
Well, not like that. Not to watch them from home, but there's so many movies available.
Steven Soderbergh took Meryl Streep and a couple of other of the best.
Boat ride.
Candace Bergman on a cruise and shot a bunch of improv scenes.
And made a movie, and I heard it was all, like, you read about, like, kind of the rundown of it, and you're like, well, that sounds terrible. But I heard that it's actually also because it's Soderbergh, and that's what he does.
Yeah. I mean, he shot the NBA, and I'm like, I went home, I started writing a series that I'm going to shoot with my little lights and a couple of iPhones around town, because why not?
If you can get away with it, I say go for it.
That's exactly right. Okay, well, let's get into something else. Another movie that probably would have done really well at the theater. Really well at the theater, probably. But instead, they released it on stream and Redbox. It's our Christmas special for this year, It's Mel Gibson's Fat Man. How many have we done? 4? Is this our 4th Christmas special?
No, this is our 3rd.
So we did
Rare Exports and
The one with
the games last year.
The kid.
That's right.
Which
Rare Exports and Deadly Games.
Briggs showed on his Christmas special last weekend. Mm-hmm. He showed Deadly Games.
And now we have Fat Man, the new Mel Gibson movie. I'll do the rundown. Our 3rd Christmas special here on Tales in the Video Store is Fat Man, starring Mel Gibson and none other than Walton Goggins. Basically, it's written by Ian Nelms. What can you say? A disgruntled rich kid gets a piece of coal for Christmas and decides to put a hit out on the Fat Man himself, Santa Claus. And just so happens that Skinny Man, or Walter Goggins, played by Walter Goggins, takes the call. And Marianne Jean-Baptiste, she's in it. She's been in a couple of movies. She was in The Fugitive. Mm-hmm. She's great. And then a new kid named Chance Hertzfeld is the bad kid, Billy. Man, I already know, I watched this movie and I know exactly what everybody's reviews are going to be. I loved it. And I almost knew, they almost gave it away when he yells and goes, do you not think, when he's yelling at Walter Goggins at the end? Says, Walton Goggins, he's not yelling
not
at Skinny
fucking
Man.
Walter, man.
Okay, Skinny, he's yelling at Skinny Man in his white sniper coat, and he says, do you think you're not the first one that's been here? It almost gave it away, but man, I really liked it. I thought it was simple. I thought it was great. I thought the whole idea of subcontracting out the elves to make some money because all the kids were shitty was great storytelling. I fucking loved it, man.
Okay.
That's me. What did you think, Doug?
It's okay.
I knew it.
It's just okay, man. Look, it's like a sci-fi western. Is all it is. It's like, you've got this mythical character who is Kris Kringle, and then you've got this guy that felt like he wronged him when he was a kid, who his entire life has been building up to try and get revenge. He falls into the perfect situation with this little kid who needs him to do this and is willing to pay him to do this. And it's just okay. Like, I wanted it to be more than it ever was. It's just okay. Really, like, I'll be honest with you, I fell asleep about an hour into it.
What?
Yeah. I fell asleep, I had to rewind it. I just found myself, not paying attention, and I made myself sit down and watch it again the next day, because I wanted to, because I was like, man, I don't even know what that really was. I don't have any memory of it. So I went back and watched it again. Guess what? Same thing.
It's still just okay.
It's just okay.
I enjoyed it for what it was. It's one of those movies that,
it could have been. It's the difference, to me, it's the difference between Bad Santa and Bad Santa 2. One is perfect in every way, and one just isn't. One is lacking. This one is just lacking. It just felt like it was rushed. It could have been so much better. They had so many chances for it to be witty or maybe, because it balanced on this, it was funny in some parts, but without wanting to be funny or trying to be funny. And it just kind of had an uncomfortable tone to it. Gibson was fantastic. I'm still scared of him. I'm scared of him like I'm scared of Clint Eastwood. They can both be 95 years old, and if I ever saw them coming after me, I'd run like a little bitch. I'll always be scared of those two guys.
Yeah.
And Gibson still has it. He was fantastic in this. But the movie,
he just really commit to playing Santa Claus.
Yeah.
Well, Walton Goggins, as much as I love him, felt like the wrong guy for this.
And he's never felt like the wrong guy in anything.
But he really did feel like, I just felt like he wasn't, he stumbled and fumble fucked all the way through it instead of being a real serious, like Ben Affleck would have been cool, like a dusky Ben Affleck that, like, dark, like Justice League, Ben Affleck, just somebody dark like that just really didn't have any kind of comedic value, maybe. I don't know. I just felt like Walton was the wrong guy for this, even though he can never be the wrong guy.
The tone was just off.
Maybe so.
You know?
I still enjoyed it, I guess. But hey, maybe if I would have watched it a second time, I mean, dude, I was in full-fledged COVID on my sofa, watching a movie underneath a blanket, which I never do. I'm always working on the computer or something, but I literally watched that movie, and I was like, oh, this was fun. And my wife and kids were like, he wasn't with us because he was not with us. I had to send him a message and go, hey, get on the rental and watch this. Nobody else liked it. My wife was like, that's the stupidest movie I've ever seen. It's the stupidest movie.
Well, she doesn't like anything.
Right. So but I enjoyed it. But if I watched it again, maybe I was just in the right mood.
Everyone watched it?
Yeah.
Oh, that would have been cool, though. But they probably wouldn't have done it if they didn't have COVID or anything.
Well, I just said I'm going to rent this. It's a Christmas movie, and it's probably not going to be a Christmas movie you guys are going to like, but I'm going to rent it, and you're more than welcome to watch it.
I was like, hey, let's have Christmas movie night, and we put it on the Christmas Chronicles Part 2 on Netflix, and I don't even think I got 15 minutes in. I was like, I can't watch this. This is
The first one was so good.
I know you really liked it. It was okay. The second one is completely unwatchable.
Fucking humbug.
So, I was like, you know what, let's do FATMAN, and Jody's like, what's FATMAN? She didn't even know what it was. I was like, it'll be fine. You know, and
if it isn't, we'll Bill Garrett.
And, you know, it just... it's like I say, it has all the stuff that you would want, but sometimes it just doesn't work, and this just didn't work for me. It's just okay. It's a one-time. I don't think I'll ever watch it again. I know I won't after watching it twice.
What about you, Doug? River?
For me, I've been waiting for a Christmas movie that's as violent as this one. So I can be with Doug, but I'm with you at the same time because I liked it a lot, but at the same time I recognize the mistakes in it and
But you enjoyed it for what it was.
Yeah. I've been waiting for a violent Christmas movie for I don't even know how long.
There you go. We've been waiting for a violent Christmas movie. Have you ever seen the movie called Die Hard, which is the ultimate violent Christmas movie?
No.
What?
No.
You've never watched Die Hard?
Don't make that face ever when we're talking about Die Hard.
What? Okay, so there's your homework, sir. I will pay for it.
It's awesome, dude. Trust me.
You got home and you watched... I actually have it on Blu-ray. But you got home and you watched Die Hard. It is the best Christmas movie for a male ever. Am I correct with that statement, Lee?
Doug, Garrett, don't take this the wrong way, but you failed as a father. Your son's never seen Die Hard.
I'm not really sure.
Right.
Hey, listen.
It sounds familiar, but I don't think...
The exact thought just went through my head when he said that, too. I'm like, how did I miss that? How have we missed this? I have failed as a father. I will take that with stride. It is the best, most violent Christmas movie ever. Lee, what'd you think about FATMAN?
I liked it. I didn't love it. Compared to the movie we reviewed last year, the Nelman Brothers movie Small Time Crime, it's not even close in terms of quality.
Oh, that's right. That's the guys that did that.
That's why we were so excited about this.
Yeah. And it even needed to be, it's like the tone is too, it's a weird movie, but the tone is so earnest and serious that it's like the tone was fighting against the weirdness. So it either needed to be a lot less serious or a lot more weird. You know, it just was so just uneven.
Like, how uncomfortably was that part when Gibson's standing in front of all the elves with like tears in his eyes, talking about how they're going to have to do all this work to subsidize the income that he.
Okay.
Like I was like he's freaking crying, and this is just super uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Like it just
what it reminded me of is I think it's the fourth Pirates of the Caribbean movie where Ian McShane plays Blackbeard.
Yes.
He's in a completely different movie than everybody else.
Yeah.
Like he's so committed to it that everybody else is like in this goofy Disney movie, but Ian McShane is just killing it.
Yeah.
You know, it's kind of like that. Like Mel Gibson is like he's like straight up acting in this movie about where he's playing Santa Claus and he's being hunted by a hitman. You know, it's just it's very odd. Like I said, I didn't hate it. I didn't want my $2 back from Redbox, but yeah, I will agree with Doug. I doubt I will watch it again.
Well, you won't watch it again because it's a Christmas movie.
Possibly.
Well, great. I enjoyed it.
I know.
I agree.
Listen, go ahead and tell us how we've slowly changed your mind. Okay, all right, good.
No, I enjoyed it for what it was, and I do agree with you. I like Walton Goggins felt like, and I think Lee hit the nail on the head. The tones were off. It seemed off, but I think I was in such a good mood, or I was just so ready for the movie.
You wanted it to be something
so my brain shut out all the bad parts about it and was just like, I just enjoyed it. And I think, honestly, when you have 4 girls sitting on the sofa going, this movie's stupid, makes me want to love it even more.
Right.
Just look at them and go, you guys are miserable failures. This is great.
That's attaboy. That's some good uplifting dad speak.
Oh, also, I gotta put it in my notes from my movies real quick. It won't even take a second.
Great.
Okay, great. So, so rent it one time? I mean, it is definitely a rent one time.
Yeah, for sure. Like, if you want to just, I'd say give it a rent.
But temper your expectations.
It's not a bad movie. I'm not saying it's a bad movie.
Temper your expectations.
It's a very, very flawed movie.
Yeah.
What's your favorite Christmas movie of all time?
I don't know.
Lee, what's your favorite Christmas movie of all time?
That would be the Bill Murray Scrooged.
The Scrooged is fantastic.
Yeah, that's probably it. God, man, I've seen that thing probably 50 times in my life. I can't wait to watch this year. It's the only one I like as far as like movies about Christmas. Like it's the one that I want. Like I want to watch it every year. Yeah.
That and National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation.
Yeah.
I'm still a Christmas Story guy. I still like Christmas
I don't ever need to see it again.
That's strange.
Thanks, TNT and whoever I don't ever need
24-hour marathon of
that starts like 2 weeks before Christmas.
Yeah.
Don't ever need to see it again.
Right. All right, well, we're running way long on this. We're already an hour in. What'd you watch? Did you get anything else good? I mean, you watched Christmas Chronicle 2.
Listen.
You got 10 minutes
I wanted, like River said, he wanted some violence, and that's why he thought FATMAN was going to be right up his alley. Well, I wanted some violence too, and when FATMAN did not deliver, I went hunting for the most violent movies that I could find, that I love, that I can just watch them over and over and over again. First one I watched is from 2010. Takashi Miike's 13 Assassins. It's just, sorry everybody, it's just perfect, man. I love every single thing about this movie. There's nothing about it that drags to me or is out of place to me. Is it the best modern samurai movie made in the last 25 years?
I would say so.
Absolutely, and nothing else is even close as far as I'm concerned. It's that good. It could have been made in the 40s, it could have been made in the 50s, it could have been made in the 60s, but it's just, dude, it ends with a 45-minute battle, and it is, and I'm not talking like, they're standing in a field like waving flags at each other. It is like Red Team Go for the last 45 minutes of this movie.
They destroy a town.
And it's just glorious. Everything about it is just the best. It's just, you get these guys that are facing off against, almost 1,000 soldiers from this crazed lord. And, it's 13 guys that, from different backgrounds. Most of them, some of them completely different backgrounds. But I don't know, there's something, like, romantic about, like, that whole thing. It's kind of like, Glory. Very similar feeling to Glory. It's like the night before the battle, everybody knows they're going to die the next day. But there's something like, I don't know, something.
The way they bottleneck all those soldiers in, because it sounds impossible that these 13 guys could do that. But the way they've planned it out in that third act is just glorious.
It's just the best.
And I will say there is one scene that couldn't have been done in the 40s and 50s, because the first time I watched it, I've been watching Takashi Miike movies since like 2001. Ichi the Killer, Audition, all these movies, and his movies, kept getting more, bigger budget. Then he makes this movie, which is like a prestige movie. Like I don't know what movie Japan submitted to the Oscars for 2010, whenever it came out. It should have been this movie if it wasn't. I mean, but the one scene that could not have been made in the 40s, 50s, when they go to the woman who was tortured by the evil lord, and they find her, and she had her arms and legs cut off, and she's basically just a torso and a head, and she had her tongue cut out, and basically he was using her as a sex doll, and then she's crying tears of blood, and when they ask her what, because she's sort of like, whatever she wants to do, that's what they're going to do. And she writes in her, she takes a paintbrush in her mouth and writes, using her own blood tears as ink, writes "Total Massacre," and it's sort of the moment of no return.
Yeah,
and that's the scene that couldn't have been in it 40 or 50 years ago, because it's such a weird scene. That's like the Takashi Miike scene.
It really is, because you look at Ichi the Killer, like that you just mentioned in this. You can never watch one and then watch the other one and think that it was done by the same director.
Right.
Not even close.
With the torso woman. But yeah, like the action's great. There's the characters are great. The guy who plays the general, the leader, he's amazing in it.
Yeah.
And it's a real, like there are people who work for the evil lord who are just sort of like, they know he's evil. It's just sort of their lot in life to be, so like there are bad guys who you sort of sympathize with.
It's an honor thing,
It's an honor thing, exactly. And it's just, it's great. I can't recommend it highly enough.
Yeah, and it is based on a quote-unquote true story. Something similar to this happened in 1844. And I can't find this anywhere. I've never seen it, but there is an original 13 Assassins, came out in 1963. It's a black and white. I found the trailer was the best thing that I could find. It looked like something I would want to check out if it was available.
Right.
Other thing I watched, we went into great detail about this, but like I said, I was on the hunt for violence. I went to Netflix. I pulled up Extraction from 2019, and I watched Chris Hemsworth just go about his day killing everything and everybody in his way, children included, and really, it's about 19 minutes in when it just goes absolute bananas. And it was just as good. Hell, I might have even enjoyed it a little bit more the second time. And I did see, and I sent this to the boys about the Russo brothers wanting to make like 6 or 7 movies expanding this universe. I really don't like that idea very much. You've got some interesting characters and all, but I can't watch a whole movie based on the chick that was like running Control Point for Hemsworth.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like I like her character and all, but I don't need a whole world revolved around that, or the guy from Stranger Things, David Harbour.
Now, if I was going to do a spin-off, it would be with the guy who was the Indian mercenary who was opposed to Chris Hemsworth from the movie.
Because I want to know where he learned how to do all that. Yeah. Agreed.
But, I just can't see them keeping up that level of quality. Plus, the only way I would say do it is if it was each one was directed by a different first-time director. You know, a different stunt guy. You know, I don't know. It just needs to be similar. I don't know.
Similar but different, yeah.
Yeah, something. Yeah, I can't imagine them keeping that up for 7 movies.
Yeah, I just want them to keep it up for one more.
Right. I would agree with that.
And I think it's going to come out maybe next year, maybe the year after. And I know that Hemsworth is involved. I don't know if it's takes place after this or before this or anything. I just, am hoping to watch Hemsworth just go in there and kill dudes again because he was very, very good at it.
Right.
That's what I watched.
Very cool.
Lee?
All right. Well, I watched starting off with a couple of documentaries. One I've seen before, but I'm just going to mention it very quickly. It's on Amazon Prime. It's called Not Quite Hollywood. It's about the film industry in Australia in the 70s and 80s, and it's one of the most entertaining documentaries I've ever seen because the movies are just completely insane, but some of the stories about the way they made the movies are even more insane. And also a movie I just watched, another documentary called Danger God, about a guy named, what was his name? It was Gary Kent. I almost said Guy Kent, but I knew that wasn't right. Gary Kent. He was a stuntman starting in the 60s in just very low-budget movies. And I guess the reason why the documentary has been released on Prime is a lot of people think he was one of the inspirations for Cliff Booth in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. Because he actually worked at Spahn Ranch. He knew Charles Manson. And he was just a stunt guy, like very cheap, biker movies, 70s action movies, things like that. And the guy, it's a pretty good documentary. The guy had a very interesting life, but it's also on Prime, Danger God.
Nice.
And also it's interesting, good to see a movie about, like he wasn't like a stuntman in like the Die Hard movies. He was a stuntman in like just, movies that, you can probably only find on Prime now. But other than that, I watched, I put together a list of Christmas movies for myself wanting to watch, and the first one we watched was Krampus from 2015. And I haven't seen it since it came out, and I thoroughly enjoyed it.
Okay.
Most of my Christmas movies are not that Christmassy, but but I've watched a couple of things, but that's about all I've watched. And what about you, Garrick?
Well, I watched Krampus. I won't say I thoroughly enjoy it, but it's kind of like FATMAN, where it's kind of, it's just Christmas and it's fun and you just don't think, you just don't think about it, you just go with it. So yes, I watched Krampus, and then I watched a documentary called Ski Bum. I don't know if anybody's familiar with Warren Miller, but Warren Miller, when I was a kid, all I did was snow ski, and he would come up, he had all these documentaries about snow skiing and going to Jackson Hole and all these great skiers on these, and they just had these documentaries, and he's just rolling around filming like really good skiers, and he's putting this whole kind of like we do here, where he'd go back and put it all together and then just sit here and watch it and talk about it and make it fun. But it was a great documentary because I loved all those movies, and I used to, Santa would always have a Warren Miller movie in my stocking, and so that was pretty interesting. And then I watched Sicario, which, we've all talked about this. We won't even get into it, but it's still so good. I think it's still his best film.
Who?
Dennis
Villeneuve?
Yeah. And I think it's Taylor Sheridan's probably his best work, too.
It's good.
It is. It's very good. And, I was on COVID. I had to work, so I had to kind of quarantine myself in the office. And so I didn't want to distract myself watching a whole bunch of movies and having to keep notes because I knew I was going to be out for a couple of weeks. So I actually just did all of the Game of Thrones. I rewatched all of the Game of Thrones marathons. In fact, I still have 2 more to go. 2 more shows to go to get the whole marathon done again.
Wow.
It's still as good, and I love it. I don't care.
I know you do.
But it's funny. Just like we've always said, we won't hit the net. We won't kick a dead horse, but it is amazing after season number 6 how much my interest changes. Everything just kind of, when
It's like somebody hits the fast forward
when
button.
R.R. Martin's books end. It's a huge tone and everything.
Everything is
for this
different. It's
last
completely
two.
different.
It's just completely different.
Yeah. It looks like the same show, but it ain't the same show.
That's correct.
Yeah. I forgot what else. I did watch something else. It was weeks back, and both of you guys had talked about it a little bit, and I'm not going to really touch on it, but I really, really enjoyed Wayne.
Oh, yeah.
Wayne was really good, dude. I'm a sucker for it's like almost like a Wild at Heart kind of style, not as trippy, but this weird love story between this really weird chick and this really weird dude. I've always, it's like Buffalo 66. I love the weird,
Wayne is great.
The
music's great. Everything.
It's
just
cool,
the ridiculousness of it. That's what FATMAN needed to be. FATMAN needed to be that over the top. They
couldn't fit.
So over the top.
They couldn't pick what they wanted FATMAN to be. Tone-wise, did they want it to be a comedy? Did they want it to be like an ultra-violent movie? Something in the middle, and it's like it had a little bit of everything, but not enough of anything.
Right.
Yeah, and Wayne's like Buffalo 66, except it's not fucking terrible.
I knew that was coming.
All right, well, we haven't had River on the show in a while, man. What'd you watch? I'm sure you watched some shows in the last couple of weeks.
Well, I narrowed it down to 5, but I'm going to get through them pretty quickly. Number 1, I've finished all the seasons of The Office. Still, it's just amazing. It's my favorite, one of my favorite TV shows.
What's that look like?
I will not allow my son to watch The Office at my house anymore because he won't stop. It's like its own fucking loop. He's been watching The Office for 3 straight years.
I'm telling you, it's TikTok. People are seeing this.
I cannot wait until the end of December when it goes bye-bye from Netflix, never to come back. I cannot wait.
Man, all my kids are suddenly, you know what all their Christmas is? Harry Potter. Dude, Harry Potter's been around forever, but some kid got on TikTok, said something about Harry Potter, and now all my kids have watched all the Harry Potter movies. It's crazy.
We need to get on there and start talking about, eat your broccoli and, don't talk back to your parents and, be a good kid. Don't be a little monster and see if we can maybe get some followers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, next is Harry Potter. Just amazing.
Is it?
Yeah.
Okay. God.
Well,
I think I hate the Harry Potter movies like you hate Buffalo 66. I just never saw the point.
Well, this movie I grew up with as a Christmas movie. We watched it every time at school and everything. Polar Express, still one of my favorites.
Polar Express from what, 2005, 2010?
Tom Hanks in it. Robert Zemeckis.
I went out of my way to never see it.
Yeah. That's probably a smart thing.
Sorry.
But their day and age.
Yeah, I'm sure it's great.
He watches Rudolph and he's like, this is trash.
Yeah,
don't ever say that.
Okay.
He's lying to your face.
Okay.
I watched Christmas Chronicles 2. I didn't make it 30 minutes in, so I'm not going to review that.
Oh, you hated it as well. Thank you.
And Dad's going to disagree with me, but Krampus, I watched it young. I was 7 when I first watched it, and I loved it, and I still love it to this day, and that's always going to be one of my favorites. No matter, you can't change my mind. And that was really it for me this week.
Nice. And you sailed through that. Only took me 45 minutes.
Yeah. I sailed through it. All right, well, we're going to do Tenet next week.
We are.
I suppose so.
All right, let's do Tenet next week, and then we're going to get into Bond, man.
I want you to check out this trailer that I found yesterday. Okay. It's for a movie called Nobody, starring Bob Odenkirk, and,
I saw that, yeah.
Oh, dude. This looks good, man. I've always been a big Odenkirk fan. I used to watch Mr. Show with Bob and David Odenkirk and David Cross had this very odd stand-up show in the 90s. And it's one of those, it was only on HBO for I don't even think it made it 3 seasons.
I think, 2 or 3, something like that.
I own their little box set. And it was one of those things like I talked about earlier where you just find something that you're like, everybody's not going to love this, but you're just so thankful that you got to see it because it feels like it was made for you. A lot of that show was that. And then Odenkirk's gotten super popular with his Better Call Saul. And this looks completely different. This looks like Bob Odenkirk is John Wick alike.
Right. Well, same writer.
Yeah, and I'm really interested in seeing him in this role, man. I think he's a really underrated actor, I think. People were like, oh, he's just a funny man, but he's very, very good. I think this will be special. This could be what FATMAN was supposed to be. But
Good call. Hey, good way to wrap it up.
But we'll see.
We shall see then. Well, everyone, Merry Christmas from Tales from the Video Store.
Especially you, Elliot Page.
I knew you were going to do that.
And Marco, Robbie, anytime you want to dress up in a present for me, it'd be wonderful. I'm all about some eggnog and Christmas spirit when it comes to Marco, Robbie.
And we've got to get our sounds dialed in if we're doing Tenet, right? Because I'm pretty sure the sound's not right. Isn't that what we discussed a little bit the other week?
According to some people, it's not.
According to some people, so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we probably need to film the Tenet one because if not, it won't be up to Nolan's standards. I should probably bring all the cameras out and do it in HD streaming because...
Yeah.
Or we should have River just on the side doing cymbal crashes and things, surround sound, and I can be juking the sound, and we can go all out for this Tenet.
Just Hans Zimmer ominous tone.
Yeah.
Hey, that sounds like a great idea. Let's do it.
Mark that down.
Merry Christmas from everyone at Tales from the Video Store. Be sure to subscribe. We are on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Spreaker, Google Play, and Apple iTunes. Again, have a safe and wonderful holiday from the boys at the Video Store.